And looking at the precautions that are being taken in Japan, we are hearing, it's being reported that most of Japan's transport network, communications network, has now been shut down.
A lot of shutdowns in all sorts of essential sectors. We're told that the shutdown of some of the power-producing facilities has resulted in 4 million people 4 million homes going without power in Tokyo. Bullet trains, as well as shutting themselves down automatically when their sensors detected the earthquake. The bullet train network north of Tokyo and coming into Tokyo has been shut down. Narita Airport, the main international airport serving Tokyo, we're told that flights have been cancelled there and that operations have been closed down. As well as that, the seaports around the country have been closed. So until they really know that the worst is over and that they can start to engage in full-on recovery efforts, and until they know that there are no further earthquakes in the imminent prospect, no further big tsunami waves coming, they've really shut down as much as they can to prevent what damage they can, despite what's already happened.
And there was quite some concern over the fate of Japan's nuclear power installations. The Japanese Prime Minister, in the initial part of his address to the nation, saying that the nuclear facilities had shut down. They shut down automatically, as you've just been telling us. They have an early warning system that shuts them down very quickly, and that there was no radiation whatsoever. The Prime Minister also telling us that he'd set up an emergency disaster response headquarters. He himself is heading that headquarters. What would they be doing now, Harry, that emergency centre that the government has set up?
Well, it'll be a mixture of assessing damage and trying to work out how best to use their resources and where the most keenly felt need for rescuers and other emergency personnel is to be required. Some 900 emergency workers, we're told, in the first instance were sent out around northern Japan. As well as that, military aircraft have been overflying a great swathe of the east coast, trying to work out which have been the most badly affected areas. And so it's that cabinet, that emergency headquarters response team is really just trying to assess in the first instance what has happened, how the response is going so far, and where the greatest number of resources are required.
And that level of sophistication, as I've just been saying to you, would not exist in some countries. We heard earlier from our correspondent in Jakarta, in Indonesia, who tells us that it's going to be very difficult for the authorities there to issue warnings to people who live on very remote islands, isolated people out in islands that surround Indonesia.
That's right. There was an earthquake towards the end of last year which hit an Indonesian island at the same time as the volcano Mount Merapi was exploding. Indonesia having a twin attack from the forces of nature towards the end of last year. And one of the chief criticisms was that the tsunami early warning system hadn't worked properly, and that there were communities who had just been stranded, hadn't been informed that the tsunami was on its way. Now, obviously, there will have been efforts in the meantime, in Indonesia at least, to try to rectify that situation. But the Philippines is a similarly strung out archipelago of islands, a lot of very remote communities, remote islands, and the Philippines is obviously on the list of countries which has a tsunami warning in place. So while the more networked and more easily accessible areas of these countries will have been informed and will be going through evacuation procedures, I can only assume as we speak, there will be parts of these countries that word simply hasn't been able to be got through to.
Aljazeera's Harry Fawcett talking to us there from Kuala Lumpur. Now, earlier, Japan's Prime Minister told his people that Japan's nuclear facilities are safe and there has been no radioactive fallout from the earthquake.
To the people of Japan, you probably have already seen on television and heard over radio that at 14:40